slide. So it says that we'll be looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6. So the first thing, when you want to do a project, there are steps. There is a data analysis process. These are steps that you have to follow when undergoing any data analytics task, when you are trying to analyze any data set. So the first is asking the question. It says the analytics process always starts with a question to be answered. Now, most people make the mistake of getting a data set before asking the questions. Now, it is very important you have your questions ready before you get your data set. You want to know how many people are buying something. You have to know, okay, this is what I'm trying to look for before getting the data set. I know most of us, we get data sets on Kaggle or somewhere, and then we're now starting to think, okay, what are we going to do with these data sets? So when you get your data before you start asking questions, it makes the process difficult, because it's much easier when you already have questions that you want to answer, and then you get the data. So the first step in the data analysis process is to ask your questions, get your questions down. What do you want to answer? Then the second step says getting the data. Now, this step involves the process of locating and obtaining data that is relevant to the question, and then determining if it is enough data to complete the analysis. Now, after you've asked your questions, you can now start sourcing for data. On Tuesday, we talked about the different ways we can get data. So you can now start sourcing for data. And then after you've sourced for the data, you look at the data. Is this enough to give me what I need? Is this enough to get my questions answered? If it is not enough, you know that you have to continue sourcing for data. You have to look for data. The data has to be enough to ensure that your analysis can be complete. Now, after that, once you have your data, the next step is investigating the data. It says data comes in many forms and from many different sources. This step involves determining if the data is complete and contains the relevant information for the analysis. Now, once your data is gotten, once you have your data, if you have imported, if you are using Excel or SQL or anything, once you have imported the data, you want to try to get familiar with the data set. You want to know if it is enough for what you want to do. So that is the investigation process. You just go through the data, look at different things in the data set to make sure that, oh, it is enough and it is exactly what you need for your task. Now, after that, we'll talk about preparing the data. It says it involves many tasks to transform the data into a format appropriate for the tools that will be used to analyze and present the data. This process is sometimes referred to as cleaning the data. Now, this is the process that a lot of us dread, because it's like where the work is in data analysis. Once you have investigated your data, you've looked at it, okay, this is the information it contains. You now have to make sure that the data is appropriate for analysis, because you cannot use a data that is inappropriate for analysis. If the data is not clean, it will give you wrong results, or sometimes you may not be able to get results with the data. So you have to make sure that your data is clean. You have to now start looking at the data column by column to make sure there are no spelling errors, to make sure there are no missing values. If there are missing values, to make sure that, oh, it will not affect your analysis. You look at different things in the data set. That is just what cleaning the data is. You just try to look at the data, make sure that it is analysis ready. It is ready for the analysis that you need. Now, after cleaning the data, after preparing the data, the next is analyzing the data. It says analysis is the process of identifying patterns, correlations, and relationships contained in the data sets or sets to draw inferences and conclusions. Now, when they talk about analyzing, they are just trying to say, okay, you have your clean data now. What do you want from this data? What are the things to look out for from the data? Are you looking at, okay, the number of people that, the number of goods that are sold, the places where the most goods are sold, different things. You just try to get relationship between the location and the price and the number of goods sold. relationship between the day, the weekday, and the number of goods sold, relationship between different things. So that is just what analysis means. You are trying to pick out different things and trying to get relationships between them so that you can draw conclusions and inferences. Now, after you've analyzed the data, you now have to present your results. It says this is usually the last step for data analysis. It is the process of communicating the results to decision makers. This can be done in the form of a report, graphical representation, or a combination of both. For some of us, this is our favorite part. Once you've analyzed the data, the person that you are showing the data does not want to see numbers. It's easier if the person is shown a graph telling that, okay, this is what you are looking at. If you are just showing the person numbers, the person may get confused. And also another thing that charts and graphs do is that they help it stick. It is easier when you're seeing pictures. You will retain the information longer because you are trying to remember, okay, you have seen the pictures, the bar chart, this one is high, this one is low, things like that. So graph and charts, they actually help us to present our data, to make it readable. Then you also have to present the reports because all of these things that you've done, you have to like, okay, your reports, this is okay, with everything that I've done, these are the recommendations, this is the conclusion, everything. So that is just the data analysis process. This is the entire process for every data analysis task that you are doing. It does not matter the tool that you are using. If you are using Excel, if you are using SQL, if you are using Python, anything that you're using, this is the process that is usually followed when you want to do a data analysis task. Now, let's go to the next slide. So, like I said earlier, we'll be looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is and sanitation. Someone is speaking. Nelson, is Nelson there?
Yeah, go ahead. Someone came in and I quickly mute the person. Thank you.
Okay. So we're looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is clean water and sanitation. And the goal is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Now, we'll follow this data analysis process step by step, stage by stage, to try to solve this problem. So the stage one, we ask questions. So it says that we are to investigate access to safe and affordable drinking water, focusing on inequalities in services levels between different countries and regions. So right now, we already have an idea of what we are going to be looking at. It says that we'll be looking at something that is relating to safe and affordable drinking water. We want to investigate things concerning access to safe and affordable drinking water. And then we'll be looking at service levels between different countries and different regions. I don't know what service levels is yet. I don't know what they mean by inequality in services levels. But then let's read on so that we can find out more. So stage two, getting the data. Now, we've seen, okay, this is an idea of what we are doing. We are trying to investigate the access to water. Now, the next thing is getting the data. It says you are provided data from the WHO /UNICEF Joint Monitoring Program for water supply, sanitation, and hygiene. And yeah, it says that you need to import. I just got the data set the same way all of you just got the data set. I just got it too. It is downloaded. I downloaded it already. So I'll just import. So it is here. This is it. Water projects, Excel. Okay. So this is the data set we've imported. So let's continue. So it means that we have our data now. The next slide says that's the stage 3, investigating the data. It says after importing, you need to verify all the required data sets are imported correctly and all necessary information are available and what each information means. So once you've downloaded, once you've imported, you need to try to look at your data, try to pick out what everything means. So now I can see, now let me just take a look at the data. I can see a lot of things. Already from here, I can see name, income group, pop N, pop U, and all of those things. Right now, I do not know what they mean. But we'll try to find out what they mean. And I can see some things. I can see that, okay, this is supposed to be the header row. That's row one. It's supposed to be the header row. There is something in cell A1. If I continue moving, I find out that there's nothing in cell B1. I continue, there's nothing in C1, D1, and all of that. It means that there's a problem. At least I have seen that already. Then I know that, okay, there are some NaN values, there are some zero values, things like that. I don't know what some of these things mean, but let me just read through. Let me try to, we're still investigating the data set. So let us just read through. Let us try to make sense of what each of these things mean. So still under stage 3, investigating the data. Now, this is telling us that the JMP data set estimates household access to drinking water services between 2000 and 2020 to access progress towards achieving the 6th SDG. So yeah, the first thing I know is that I'm dealing with the years 2000 to 2020. Let me see. Okay, there is no year column here. So let's just assume that, okay, our data set is for just one particular year between 2000 and 2020. I don't know which year it is. So this is now telling us the different things that are in the data set. It says estimates on the use of water 2000, 2020. So okay, let's just assume that is the data set name. Let me say that maybe they took the average of those years, the average values of each of them. So that is what they did. So it says that we have the population, which is the estimated population size in thousands for the specific country and year. We have the country or area, which is the specific country or area the values are estimated for. As I'm reading, I can go through my data set. First, there's a population. So it means that one of these values is the population value. I don't know which one yet. Then it says that there is an area, a country or area. Looking at the data sets, I can see that this looks more like countries. Yeah, because I have some familiar names. I have Monaco here, I have Liechtenstein, I have San Marino, I have Gibraltar. So obviously, column A is my country or my area. Then what else do I have? It says I have percentage urban, which is the estimated percentage share of the population living in urban areas. So it means that for each of the area, there is urban and then there's the rural part. So we are giving the percentage out of everybody, the particular percentage that reside in the urban part of the country or the area. Again, I currently do not know which of them, because obviously since it is percentage, I am expecting my value to be in numbers, but I really do not know. I don't know which of them because there are a lot of numbers here. But then let's continue. It says I have the year, the specific year, the values are estimated for. I don't think I am seeing year yet. I don't think there is year. There is no year column. But obviously, maybe there was a mistake somewhere in getting the data set. There's supposed to be year. But as it stands, I do not have year. That is why I said maybe it is just like an average of those years. I don't know. Then it says I have the service levels, the estimated national, rural, and urban percentage share of a specific level of access to drinking water services. So it means that there are service levels. I don't know the service levels yet. Then for each of those service levels, there is the national share, there is the urban share, and then there's the rural share. So it means that all of these numbers that I'm seeing here, they correspond to particular shares of each service level. Again, I do not have that information. I don't know. I am just trying to look at my data, trying to make sense of it. So let's see if we have any additional information. Okay, still under investigating the data. Now it is now telling us the service levels. It says the data set uses service ladders to benchmark and compare access to drinking water across different countries. The ladder defines 5 different service levels. Now, the first is safely managed, which means that drinking water from an improved source that is accessible on premises, available when needed, and free from fecal and priority chemical contamination. So this looks like the best form. So this is one of the levels. This is like the top level of the water service. So this is the top service level, safely managed, everything is fine, improved source, readily available, no contamination. Then I also have the basic level, which is drinking water from an improved source, provided collection time is not more than 30 minutes for a round trip, including queue time. So for the basic level, the water is actually good, but you have to go queue. You have to queue for some time. So if you don't queue for more than 30 minutes, it means that okay, we can say that oh, okay, you even have luck. Let me just use that word. You even have luck. You are not queuing for long, so your situation is still good. Then the next one is limited. It says drinking water from an improved source for which collection time exceeds 30 minutes for a round trip, including queue time. So for the people that have limited supply, they still have water, but they will have to queue for more than 30 minutes. So maybe it is still good that at least you have water, at least. Even though you will have to queue maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, at least you have water. Now let's go down. It says unimproved. Now, unimproved says drinking water from an unprotected dog well or unprotected spring. Oh, that's a problem. The source is not improved. You have to take water from a well that is unprotected or a spring that is unprotected. But our data set is still telling us that there's something that is even worse. There's something that is even worse, surface water. It says that, sorry, um, drinking water, let me try to move this up so that we can all see. Um, um, so I want to make sure everybody is seeing. Sorry. Okay. So I'm not sure what is written there, and I don't want to tamper with the controls, the Zoom controls. But what it's saying here actually is drinking water directly from the canal. That is like the summary of everything. So for the surface water, it is not even from a well. It is even much worse. It is actually from a canal. So that is what it is. So these are the 5 levels of water. And remember, we are told that we have, from this slide, we are told that we have the share, the urban, rural, and national share for each of these service levels. So it means that for my data set, all of these numbers that I'm seeing, I am expecting that oh, some of them is the share for the surface urban. I have the one for national, limited, things like that. So I have different things. So let's try to continue. Now, preparing the data. So I have looked at my data sets. I have seen that, okay, these are the values I have. Even though they told me that I had here, I've seen that, oh, there is no year in the data set. So I have tried to look at the data and try to make sense of it. Okay, what are these people trying to say? I have tried to look at each of the values that they said I have, because usually when you get the data, you have information about the data set. You have to confirm that the information that you have is true. So I've looked at it and seen that, so some of them, some of the information I had was not true, like the year, there is no year. Then some of them, or most of them is true, like each of the service levels, I'm seeing numbers here, so they must be service levels. But I really cannot tell because I have a lot of values in my cell A1. I don't have anything in B1 to P1. I don't have anything there. So it means that maybe some of the values are supposed to be in B, C to up to P. They joined everything in A. But of course, we'll solve the problem along the way. So let's continue. So data cleaning. We have to prepare the data. We cannot use our data like this without values in B1. That is supposed to be our header column. So if we don't have values in B1 to P1, we don't know what we are looking for. So we have to make sure we clean the data, we prepare it so that it is suitable for analysis. Now it says that when importing the data, we can either assume that values are comma separated as per the file extension, or have Google Sheets automatically detect the separator type. Now, if we are using Google Sheets, if we had imported with Google Sheets, we would have been asked to specify our delimiter, because sometimes the data you have, usually it is separated with commas, but sometimes you may have separation with space, you may have separation with tab, you may have separation with different things. But for Excel, it's just Excel automatically assumes it. For this, it's actually a CSV file, a comma separated value file. So most of it is separated with commas. Now, so it says that detect automatically, the column headers are not separated because semicolons were used as separators. Now, this is a problem. Excel automatically assumed that our separator is comma. That is what Excel assumed, which is why it's just everything that's separated with comma, it gave us in tables. But now they're telling us that our column headers, they are not separated with commas. That is why we have the problem that we had. That is why there's nothing in B1 to P1. It is because that particular header, it is separated, that particular row, it is not separated with commas. It is separated with semicolons. So we have to fix that. Now it says that detect automatically, the column headers are not separated because semicolons were used as separators, because we detected automatically and Excel automatically gave us CSV. So yeah, the second part, it says that check for other instances of semicolon separators to ensure that values aren't misinterpreted. Then, so it means that since we have our column headers that is separated with semicolon, that means there's a chance that other things are also separated with semicolons. So we have to try to look at our data sets to make sure that, oh, it is only the column header, the column row, that is separated with semicolon. If there are other things that are separated with semicolon, Excel will not automatically separate them because it's automatically assumed a comma separator. So after solving the problem for the header row, we still have to solve the problem for other rows. Now, how do we solve our problem? Now it says that use data, then that is the data tab, then go to split text to column in the toolbar to split the column headers into the appropriate columns. So now let me come to Excel. Now, the first thing to do is to make sure that there is nothing in each of the other rows. Now, I can see that there's something in A1, B1 to P1, there's nothing there. So it means that everything is located in A1. So how do I do that? How do I try to separate them? So what do? I come here, I click on cell A1. That is the first thing. I click on cell A1. And from our slide, it says that we'll go to data. Then after going, let me just pin this, yeah, so that we don't have to go back and forth. So I click here and then I go to data, and then it says that I go to text to columns. That is where what I am looking for is. So I click on text to columns. Now this is what it gives me. It says that the text wizard has determined that your data is delimited. If this is correct, choose next, or choose the data type that best describes your data. So since you know that it is delimited with a semicolon, you choose delimited. Now, after choosing delimited, yeah, it says that characters such as commas or tabs separate each field. So if you know that there's something separating your data, you use delimited. Now, if it is, it says that for fixed width, it says fields are aligned in columns with spaces between each field. So let's say it was separated by space, so it may choose fixed width. But since we know that it is semicolon, we just pick the delimited and then we click on next. Now, after clicking on next, this next step is to choose which delimiter your data is separated with. So you just come here, tab is already clicked, so you unclick tab and then you click semicolon. Now you can see a preview here. It already tells you what it will do. So you can see that it has already separated everything. When I clicked tab, there was no separation. Everything was still one line. But if I unclick tab and then I click on semicolon, you can see now that it has helped me to separate. So I already know what I am expecting when I click on next now. So I've clicked on semicolon and then I click next. Now, yeah, it says that, okay, the destination, obviously, I already clicked on A1. So that is my destination. Then I can now click on finish. Now, when I click on finish now, I can now try to confirm if what I did worked. So I come here now, A1, I only have name here. If I go to B, I have income group. If I go to C, I have pop N. If I go to D, I have pop U. If I go to E, I have, so it means that I now have things in each of the column headers. So it means that what I have done worked. So I can now continue. Now, ideally, if you are working on this data set, this is now the time you are supposed to go back. Since you already have what each of this means, you are supposed to go back and start looking at them. Okay, this pop N now, what does it mean? This pop U, what does it mean from the information that was given before? Because then we just knew that, okay, there are different service levels. Then there is urban, rural, national. But now, to be sure, you are supposed to go, okay, this what SURN, what does it mean? That is what you are supposed to do in the ideal case, but we are working with time here. So let's continue. So next, it says that use Control F or Command F if you are using a Mac to search for other instances of semicolons and use the same method to split the text into columns. So this is already telling me that, oh, there are still some places that it is still semicolon. So now let's try to find them and then let's try to solve the problem. So it says that I'll do Control F. Now I have done that. What am I looking for? I am looking for semicolon. So let me find all. So these are the values, these are the places I have semicolon. You can see. So okay. So it says that 5 cells where I have semicolons. I don't know if the cells are highlighted. Okay, let us see. I'm trying to go to the particular cell. Click on find all. So okay. Now the first cell is highlighted. You can see it here. Upper middle income. So let me just drag this to this side. Now, if I click on this now, this is B24. Now, B24, you can see now that there is a semicolon separator here. Now, if I continue going along the row, D24, there's a value, D24, let me continue moving. Now, I cannot see anything in P24. Usually, my data is supposed to run from A to P, but I kept moving to see if there is a missing value, and I could not see anything in P24. So it means that it did not, because of that semicolon, something is supposed to be in that P24, but it has joined with B24. Now, this is where you have to be very, very careful. Now, I can come here and try to do what I did before. I'll get a result. But I'll find out that this, my P24, will still be empty. Now, the idea is that whatever you have in this B24, it is supposed to be in B24 and C24. Then what is in C is supposed to be in D. What is in D is supposed to be in E. That is how it is supposed to be. that separator is telling you that, oh, that thing is supposed to be in B and then in C. So before you try to separate your text into columns, you have to make sure that C is empty, because if I do that now, what it will do, it will just replace the value I have in C. It will just replace it. And then I'll find out that I still have a blank in P24. So how do I do that? I just select the values from C24 to from C24 to O24. I select, I cut, and then I come to D24 because that is where the first value is supposed to be. I come to D24 and then I paste. I'm using the keyboard shortcut, sorry. That is why you cannot see the cutting and the pasting. Let me just try to redo so that you can see. So first we go to B24. So this is it. So what I do, I select everything from C24 to O24. Then I cut. Then I come to D24 because that is where the first value is supposed to be. I come to D24, that cell, and then I paste. Now, after I have done that, you can now see that there's a value on P24, which is 0. There's a value. And then C24 is now empty. So I can now split my column. So I come here now, B24, and the same thing I did earlier, I just come here, text to columns, delimited, next, semicolon. You can see what it's supposed to give me. Then next, then I finish. So I have something now in C24. That is solved. I come to the next one. The next one, let me click on find all again. Okay, I am seeing one here. A1. Oh. When I when I undid, I think I did it too much. So let me just redo this. Delimited this, finish. Okay. So let me continue. So I have the next one, K29. You can see the cell here is written here, K29. So where is K29? This is K, and this is 29. So this is K29. You can see again, there is a semicolon separator. So the first thing I try to look for where my empty cell is, that is P29 here. So it means that if I have my semicolon in K29, it means that from L29 to O29, I'll just shift it one cell. So since I have showed you what I did, cut and paste, let me just use my keyboard shortcut. So Control X, then I come to M and Control V so that I have L empty. Then I come to K29 and then I do my text to column. I do this, next, finish. Okay. Now, after that, I continue again. I have 3 more because they said it is 5. Now I am seeing D48. So this is column D. This is cell. This is row 48. So this is it. You can see another one. So let me just. The empty one again is still P. Yeah, it's still in P. So let me just come here, select all, cut, and then I go to the next cell and then I paste so that this guy is empty. Now I can now do my text to column. Next, finish. Yeah. So again, I click on find all. You see now there are now 2. G113. So this is G and then this is 113. Okay. So I just go to H and then I select, I cut, I go to the next cell, I paste, and then I can now work on my G113, text to columns, delimited, semicolon, then I finish. Then I click on find all again. is L, and then this is 139. I copied it. Is actually very, very kind. And he made sure that everything, the empty cells, are only in P, are only in column P. So that person did well. Yeah, usually you don't get something like this. The person likes us. So I'll do the same thing. Control X. I go to the next cell. I paste, and then I do my text to column. Next, finish. Yeah. So if I click on find all again, you can see now that there is nothing with semicolon. It means that every part where the semicolon was used as a delimiter has been taken care of. So I can now close this. And then let me go back to my slide to see what I am to do next. Now, yeah, it says that a new feature called value count that counts the number of rows that has a value. So we use the count A function. Now, why are we doing this? The problem was that some cells have spaces. There are spaces in some cells. Because of those spaces, we don't have values in, because of those spaces. Now, we are using the count function to make sure that there are no more spaces. Now, it says that we have to create a count, a value count column. So I'll just come here, column Q. Let me go to Q1, and then I name it value count, value CNT. So why am I doing this? I am trying to make sure that there is value in all of my cells. So if I am counting the rows now, I am supposed to get 16. If you do from A to P, it says that 16. That is what it is. It says, yeah, it says 16. I've not done the mathematics. I've not counted, but it says 16. But the idea is that you're supposed to get the same thing in every column. So, and then I'll use my count A function. Now we're using count A because while we are not using count only works for numerical values. But here we have numerical values, we have NaN values, we have text values. The count A will just count everything. So I come here equals count A. Let me go to capital letter, count A. Then what am I counting? I am counting from A. Okay, let me just come here. So I am counting from A2 to P2. And then I click, and then I have 16. So it means that for that particular row, I have 16. Then I drag it down by double clicking. I have dragged it down by double clicking. So normally I'm expecting 16. Now if it is 1,000 row, there is no way I will start scrolling down to see which of them is 16 and which of them is not 16. So I'll just come here. I'll click on the column, and then I'll try to filter. I'll just filter that particular column, and then I click the drop down to see that. So you can see now everything is 16. So there is nothing that is less than 15. It means that our semicolon, what we did there, it has worked, and there are no empty cells again. So let's continue. Yeah, it says that then use data, then split text to columns, remove the filter, and check that all values in the value count are now equal to 16. We've done that. Now the next thing it says, data to then split text to columns will overwrite adjacent cells when it is applied to a single cell. Remember, I told you this. If you just do it to a single cell, it will automatically overwrite the next cell. It will remove whatever is there. That is why it was important that we had to move it to make sure that that particular cell is empty. If we had just done it like that, you will still be seeing that, oh, your P is still empty. You will not know that, oh, something has gone missing. So you have to be very, very careful. So let's continue. Stage 5, analyzing the data. So according to them, our data is very, very clean. We are lucky. Yeah, usually you, in the ideal case, you have to try to go through each of them. You have to try to filter through and then check each of them. But for what we are doing, they have told us that, oh, it is okay. We don't want you to do much again.
So,
Your
sorry, Heidi.
Nelson, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for this presentation. It's been brilliant. I've really learned a lot from you. So I think we have our time up already. So we'll
Oh,
stop here and we'll continue from this stage on
oh,
Tuesday. So let's open
oh,
the floor for questions and in
okay, okay.
recommendation notes, everything. Well done, well done. Good job, please.
You're welcome. So please, does anybody have any question? Yeah, everything that we've talked about. If there is anything that is not clear, please ask. Or if you would like to add, probably there's something I did not explain properly, or maybe somewhere I made a mistake. Please just help us. So questions, contributions, the floor is open. Anybody? Nobody has a question. Is it that easy? Is it very easy? Is it that easy? Guys, there's no question.
I don't think
Wow.
anyone asks. If you ask question, kindly please. Okay, Sheung.
Okay.
Mine is not a question. Can we continue till 9 p.m.?
No, 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 no. We
Um,
have our time. 45 minutes is the maximum time.
yeah, and
So
we've
sorry
used past
about that.
45 minutes.
Yeah. Mr. Sheung. Sheung, go ahead and ask your question, please. Okay.
There is no
Yeah.
question.
I don't think
Can
there's
we
any
get the
question.
recording? Can we get the recording, please?
Yeah,
For
sure.
today?
The recording will be available.
Yes, please. We need it this night so that we can work on the ones you've taught us. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I
The,
don't
the
know if it's
record
available this night. Okay, Nelson should talk about that.
the recording will be available tomorrow on our YouTube channel. Because we still have to do some editing and version before we post it on the site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah, you're raising your hand is raised.
Oh, good evening. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to ask if I'm not sure if it is the version of the Excel I'm using or not. So, unlike your own, that the header I can see A, B, C, D, F, then immediately after it, you can see name like on the A1 row. So instead, I
Yeah.
have like immediately that A, B, C, D. I have column 1, 2, column 1, column 2, column 3.
You mean row 1, row 2, row
Then
3?
I now have the name. Yes,
Okay.
like,
Sorry, are you saying
immediately
your
after
1, 2,
A, B,
3 is
C, D, E,
empty?
F.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that, on the row 1, that you have name, income, pop,
Yeah.
and the likes. Instead, I have column 1, then column 2, column 3. Then after that, that's the A2, B2 row. Then I now have my own name, income, and the likes. So I'm trying to
Um,
say, like, the first thing on the sheet is not the name, income, and the likes. I'm not sure if it's like the version, or maybe there's a way I'm meant to set it. I don't know if you understand my question.
I don't know. When you imported, I really do not know what the problem is. I think it will come from when you are importing. Are you using Excel or Google Sheets?
I'm using Excel.
You're using Excel. When you downloaded and then you opened it, and it opened in Excel and it just showed that.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe you'll have to try it again. No, I don't know if someone can answer the
Can, can,
question.
can you share your screen? Let's see. Maybe you can help out.
Let me stop sharing so that you can share.
Okay, Mr.
Or maybe I should try. I don't know. Is there a way I can? I'm using my phone device for the call,
Oh,
for the laptop. for the
I
Excel.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I really do not know what the problem is. So I really cannot say anything. I don't know if
Until
anybody has experienced such a situation. If they have, they can actually help us, but I cannot answer your question at this point. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
but just try importing again. Just try opening it again. Maybe close it and open it again.
Okay.
all right, Mr. Sheung, please go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's because she has not done the editing. You know, when you opened yours, you had to go to the text, I think, convert some data to text or something. There was something you clicked up where it was showing where you say semicolon something something. It was when you clicked that part that yours changed to name, pop and something. So we now demarcated it. I think that's what she's trying to say.
Deborah, is that true? Your A1 has value, but your B1 to P1 does not have values.
They have values. No, that's not
What?
what is happening. I'm trying to sort of like, this is the way I can like
Yeah, if we could see
share.
it, would have been better. If you could share your screen, it would have been better. But since you said okay, okay, you're sharing.
Okay. I don't know if you can see what I'm saying now.
Okay.
You are using table. You have converted it to table. So for you to be able to do that, you have to eliminate the upper cell or
Yeah,
your
okay.
upper row.
This is what you did. This is what you did. You converted to a table. And when you're converting to a table, it will ask you if your table has headers. There's a place you have to click. You have to click a checkbox to specify that your table has headers. I think you did not do that. So it's created a header for you. Normally, when you're converting to a table, you are supposed to clarify that, oh, this table already has headers. So that's the problem. But you did not
Uh,
click on that. So that is why it's creating its own header for you.
so what's the solution now?
When you're converting to a table, there's a place it will show you, it will ask you if your table has headers. You are supposed to click on it. You are supposed to check that box.
Okay, I didn't see anything like that too. But in case of next time, I also like to confirm. Like when I try importing it, how am I how is the or what is the ideal way to like import the CSV file into the Excel? Like where am I meant to go to? Is it not
Uh,
data?
yes.
Then from data, I'm meant to go to um like the other sources. Like I want to be corrected in case maybe that's where I made it wrong.
Um, okay.
Or better
We
put,
actually
how
talked
did you
about it.
import?
Are you in the last class?
Yes, I
Okay, you
was.
know what? Let me just run through the example for you, please.
Okay.
So let me share my screen.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So let me show me. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
we can
see
see
it.
it.
Yes, yes.
Download, let me see. I want to check the data set is all right. Good. So you come to data, see get data. You can see from file text.csv. So the particular data set I'm importing is a CSV file. So I can come to desktop. I see estimate CSV, then import. Can see can see the way it is, right?
Yes.
This is our first row. So comma address, then I load. You can see now that it's giving me same thing. right? So what I need to do from here, right, is to just come to this place, to my data, text to column, delimiter, next, put it to semicolon, this way, next, right, and finish. That's it. So you don't have to
Oh
get
yeah,
that.
thank you. I think
Yeah,
it's the
once
version
you do
because
that, it will
on the
once you do
Excel I
that, it will
used
just override everything.
for there was no option for get data. I
Oh,
was seeing from other sources and or maybe I just have to update the version or something. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
yeah. Thank you very much for that question. Any other person?
Okay. I don't think there's any other question. So having said that, thank you very much, and I really appreciate and enjoy your class, Udo in Udo. In fact, you are a great lecturer. You need to go and put it on LinkedIn and say, I am an Excel trainer, expert Excel trainer. You have really done a good job, a really, really good job, and I sincerely
Thank you very
appreciate.
much.
So,
I enjoyed the class too. So thanks to everyone.
so we'll see next week, Tuesday by 8 p.m. So having said that, the video will be available tomorrow on our YouTube channel. And let's do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our Instagram page, and also inform other people to subscribe to our channel so they can see and enjoy this value, right? I believe that there's no video on YouTube that can explain in details or take you through this process one step at a time, like what we are doing in Tech Tribe. And I think it should be something we should be proud of to tell other people to go check our video out to see how our training is going and all. Thank you.